So we had defined the beams in the previous class, and we had also seen the classification of the beams. So any structural member subjected to the transverse loads, that is the forces and the moments perpendicular to the axis of the beam. Okay, these are the members in which the loads are perpendicular to the axis of the beam. So you can see an example of the beam. If you see this force, so first of all, this is the axis of the beam. This is the axis of the beam. This horizontal line is the axis of the beam. And you can see that there is this force. This force is what? It is perpendicular to the axis of the beam. Therefore, it is a transverse load. Similarly, if you can see this distributed load here, uniformly distributed load, it is again perpendicular to the axis of the beam. That is, it is a transverse load. Okay, it is the transverse load. And if you take the example of this moment, okay, there is a couple of moment in the anti-clockwise direction. This again is a transverse load. Why is it a transverse load? Because it is perpendicular to the axis of the beam. The vector, the moment vector, किस direction में होगा? It will be perpendicular to the axis, but into the plane of the paper. Okay, you can see that the other forces are in the plane of the paper. The rest of the forces are perpendicular to the plane of the paper. Okay, so we can see that this point load is in the plane of the paper, but perpendicular to the axis. This distributed load is in the plane of the paper, but perpendicular to the axis of the beam. And this moment is perpendicular to the axis, but perpendicular to the plane of the paper as well. Okay, so all these loads are transverse loads. Okay, and you can see what is the effect of this load. Okay, so this kind of loading causes the bending in the beam. You can see that this is the bending of the beam. Therefore, in this plane, the plane in which the bending of the beam will take place is known as the plane of bending. So the vertical plane here you are seeing is the plane of the bending. Okay, this is the plane of the bending. And you can see another beam. It is a cantilever beam because it is fixed at one end and free at other. There are again two loads here. Both are the transverse loads. Again, you can see that this is the direction in which the beam will tend to bend. Okay, therefore we can say that this vertical plane is again the plane of the bending. Okay, so what we do in the problem, last class we had seen that first of all we calculate the reactions. Okay, we calculate the reactions. So all these loads, this load, point load here, the moment here, this uniformly distributed load are the external loads. Okay, these are the external loads. These all are the external loads. And in fact, these reactions are also the external loads. This reaction here, we will have two reactions and a roller reaction here. These are the external loads. But for a beam to see whether it won't fail, we have to see the internal loads as well. We have to see the internal forces as well. On the account of these external forces, there will be some internal forces as well. So suppose I take an example of this beam. Let me take an example of any beam. Suppose there is a support here, another support here. And there's a point load acting at this place. This is suppose a reaction at A, this is reaction at B. There is a point load acting, suppose its magnitude is equal to 10 kilonewton. So what is the effect of this load? It will try to create bending in the beam. Okay, so much, and this will be the plane of the bending. Not only we have to see the external forces, we must have an idea of all the internal forces which are in the beam, because we have to design the beam properly. Design means giving the dimensions to the beam. Fine. If we have to design any beam, we have to give some dimensions so that it does not fail on the account of the load. So the external forces are not only the things which can cause the failure in the beam. We have to check for the internal loads as well. For design, we need to check internal loads as well, or internal forces. And on the account of the loads, there are stresses in the beam. There will be stresses in the beam. On the account of the forces. And the beam material can withstand a particular value of stress. Can withstand up to, we can write up to a particular value of stress. If the stress in the beam exceeds at any point beyond that particular value, which we called as the failure stress or the yield stress, okay, which we usually call as the yield or ultimate stress. There are different criteria. For the brittle materials, we have ultimate stress. For the ductile materials, we have yield stress. So if the force, if the stress in beam exceeds any of these values, the beam will fail. Okay, the beam will fail. That is, yielding or the fracture of the beam will take place. The beam will fail. So it is quite necessary to find what are the internal forces. The maximum internal force will give us the design criteria. We would look like to see what is the maximum internal force. On that basis of that force, we will see what is the maximum load the beam will carry. On that basis, we can design the beam. Because if that section of the beam is passing the test, failure test, then every point on the beam, every section of the beam will pass the failure test. That's why we design the beam for the critical point. We design beam for critical point. And what is this critical point? Critical point is the point of maximum stress. If we design for the critical point, then all other points will be safe. Because if we have designed for that section which is carrying the maximum load, then other sections will definitely carry the less load, because critical point is the point where we have the maximum load or maximum value of the stress. So if we design for, we always design for the critical point, then all the other points or the sections of the beam will be safe. Okay. So that's why we need to find within the beam where we have the maximum loading. Maximum load kahan pe hoga within the beam, therefore we have to determine. Okay, so for that we don't need only the external forces. We need to find what are the internal forces at different sections of the beam. And the section of the beam where we have the maximum force, that will become the critical section. We will design the beam for that loading, and all the rest of the points will be safe. Okay, let me take an example of this beam. Suppose if I apply this load in the middle, let me apply this load in the middle so that it is symmetric. This is a load of 10 kilonewton which is acting in the middle. Can you guess what will be the reactions? 5 and 5, because this is symmetric. If this load would have been towards this support A, then maximum reaction would have been at support A and less at B. Okay, but it is in the middle, therefore this reaction will be equal to 5 kilonewton. This reaction will also be equal to 5 kilonewton. If I take a section of the beam, if I consider this section of the beam, XX section, if I draw the free body diagram of this section, we will have a reaction here, isn't it? We will have a reaction here. So what I have done here is, this will be the left hand side of the section and this will be the right hand side of the section. I have taken here the left hand side of the section. So whenever I take a section, all these sections, the section will divide the beam into two parts, or both these parts should be in equilibrium. Okay, both these parts should be in equilibrium. So what should be the case here? If there is a reaction here, then definitely at this section we should have some force opposite to this force, which will keep this beam in the equilibrium, isn't it? Okay, we will have some force here. So at this section we will have a force which is known as the shear force. Okay, at this section we will have a force which is known as the shear force. Not only the shear force will be here, there will be also some, what else you can say? What will be the effect of this load at this section? Not only we will have a resisting force, we will also have a resisting moment, because this force can create a moment as well. Therefore, what happened to this color? We will have a moment as well, a resisting moment as well. So that this complete section, which I have taken, left hand side section, is in equilibrium. And this moment is known as bending moment. This moment is known as bending moment. So usually in the beams, we take only the transverse loads. Therefore, on the account of the transverse loads, we will have two types of loads, internal forces in the beam. One is the shear force and second is the bending moment. We need to find the location of the maximum shear force. Where will be the maximum shear force in the beam? So that we will design our beam accordingly, isn't it? Also, we need to find the point where we have the maximum bending moment, because we have to design the beam not only for the shear force, we have to design the beam for the bending stresses as well. We have to find the location of the maximum bending moment. See here, this is the beam of some length, suppose 5 meters. At different sections, we might have different bending moments, but we need to locate the maximum bending moment so that we design the beam for that section. And rest of the sections will be definitely safe if we design for the critical section. So all these forces, all these resisting forces will be known as the shear forces, and these will be the bending moments. So our main aim of this unit is to find the shear forces at different sections of the beam. Obviously, there will be infinite number of sections. We will find at certain sections. Okay, we'll find at certain sections, and we will also find the bending moment at different sections. So after finding the shear forces at certain sections and bending moment at certain sections, we will draw a diagram that is known as shear force diagram and a bending moment diagram. So if you look at the syllabus, there is written as types of beams in brackets. There is SFD and BMD. Okay, so this is our main goal of this chapter. So today I will only focus on the shear force. Let's take an example how we find the shear force and what are the various sign conventions that we have to take. This is a beam. Suppose there is a 100 Newton load acting here. Another 100 Newton load is acting here. Suppose this distance is equal to 1 meter. Okay, so first of all, we will see how we calculate the shear force. Shear force at any section of the beam is the algebraic sum of algebraic sum means we have to take care of the signs as well. Shear force at any section of the beam is the algebraic sum of all the vertical forces. Since we are considering the beam to be carrying transverse loads only, therefore transverse loads can be said that these are the vertical loads. Shear force at any section of the beam is the algebraic sum of all the vertical forces, including the support reactions. Not only the external, these loads applied, but also the support reactions. Shear force at any section of the beam is the algebraic sum of all the vertical forces, including the support reactions, either towards right or left of the section. And what are the sign conventions we have to see? If this is a beam, we have taken any section here. This is the section which you have taken. If towards the left of this section, we have a net upward force. Fine. If towards the left of the section, we will have a net upward force. Or towards the right of the section, we have a net downward force. Then the shear force at this section is said to be positive. Fine. This is said to be positive. And if I consider the beam again, I have taken any section of the beam. I make the algebraic sum of all the forces, either towards the right of the section or left of the section. If I am making the algebraic sum of all the forces towards the left of the section, and the net force comes out to be in the downward direction, or it comes to be positive in the upward direction. I mean to say, if it comes to be upwards towards the right hand side of the section, okay, this is the left hand side, this is the right hand side. If the algebraic sum of all the forces, including the reactions, come out to be positive, this upwards towards the right of the section, or it comes downwards towards the left of the section, then this shear force is said to be negative shear force. This is the sign convention which we have to follow. So everything will be clear how I have written this sign convention and what I mean by the algebraic sum of all these forces. Shall I move to next? Fine. So first of all, first thing we have to do is to remove the supports, introduce the reactions, and draw the free body diagram. That is, we will draw the free body diagram of the beam. In the free body diagram of the beam, we only show what? External forces. Okay? In the free body diagram, we only show the external forces. When we say that it is a complete beam, we will show only the external forces. After making the section, we will show the internal forces as well. So the first step here is to isolate, to remove the supports and introduce the reactions. This was how much? 100. This is again 100. I think these all distances were equal, 1 meter. Okay, shear force, we don't need distances. What will be AX? This has to be 0. No load in the horizontal direction. Again, we can see that I have taken an example of the symmetric loading, isn't it? Therefore, net downward force is 200. If this is a symmetric loading condition, then 100 will be registered here. Let me say that this is point B, C, D. Or you can find the reactions by using those two equations. Summation of the moments about A to be 0. minus 100 into 1. This was 1. This was 1. 1 I had taken. This 100 will create again a clockwise movement about A. That will be minus 100 into 2 here in this case, plus dy into, because dy will create anti-clockwise movement, dy into 3. So from here we will get that dy will be equal to and ay will also be equal to 100 newtons. This is the way to find the reactions, but we can directly see by the inspection this is a symmetric loading, therefore we can say that the reactions will be divided equally. So now to find the shear force at any section, what I am going to do here is I will take a section. Suppose I am taking a section in between A and B. At some distance x from this free end, from this end A, I have taken a section XX. I want to see what is the shear force at this section. Then I need to draw the free body diagram of the either the left hand side of the section or the right hand side of the section. Okay, therefore I will break this beam into two parts, left hand side and right hand side. I will draw the FBD. Okay, for finding the shear force we need to take only either left hand side or right hand side, but initially I will discuss both the cases. Shall I move next slide? Okay. Now I have broken this beam into two parts. I think this was point A. This point was B, isn't it? I had taken the section between A and B. So after taking the section here, what I have done, this is the left hand side of the section. This complete will be the right hand side of the section. Here we had 100 Newton load, 100 Newton load. This reaction dy was equal to 100 and this ay was equal to 100. Ax हम बेकार में साथ ले रहे. This is 0. So forget about this thing, this green color vector. If I take only the external forces, the external force was what? This blue color vector, that's the reaction at y. So to balance this, what should we have here is a shear force, internal force, which will resist this action. Okay, so that the beam remains in equilibrium. Therefore, we should have what? An opposite force at this section. And that force is known as what? That force will be the shear force and it will be denoted by V. So since this section is a part of both LHS and right hand side of the beam, therefore the same shear force should be on the other side of the section, but in which direction? Opposite. Okay, so if this is the free body diagram of what? Right hand side of the section, and this is the free body diagram of the left hand side of the section. See here, the blue and red color forces are the external forces, and this shear force shown by the green color is the internal force which has developed on the account so that this beam should remain in equilibrium. Fine. So what is the shear force at this section? What is the shear force at this section? So how I had defined the shear force, to calculate the shear force, see this statement again. Shear force at any section of the beam is the algebraic sum of all the vertical forces, including the support reactions, either towards right or left of the section. Let me take both the sections here. First, I will take the left hand side. This is the section where I have to find the shear force. I have to find the shear force. Okay. What are the forces towards the left hand side of the section? What are the vertical forces towards this side of the section, in this section? Towards this side of the section. Only Ay is the vertical force, isn't it? Forget about this, Ax is 0. Therefore, the shear force, we have to make actually the summation of all these vertical forces, but I have only one vertical force here. Therefore, the shear force at this section will be V is equal to how much? This will be equal to how much? 100 newtons. What I am taking here is currently the left hand side of section, left hand side. Now we have seen what is the shear force, but we have to see what is the sign of the shear force. So for the sign convention, what we have, will it be positive or negative? I had discussed the sign convention. If towards the left hand side of the section, the net force is upwards. If towards the left hand side of the section, net force is upwards, then it will be treated as positive. Or towards the right side of the section, if it is downwards, then again it will be treated as positive. Currently, I am seeing the left hand side of the section. So what should be my shear force for it to be positive? The net force should be upwards. What is the net force in this case? Is it upwards or downwards? This AY is what? Upwards, isn't it? AY is upwards because my shear force is equal to only AY. AY is upwards, therefore, and this is the left hand side of the section, then it should be what? Positive shear force. Is it clear, this sign convention? No? So what I had written is, if this is the beam and I am considering a section, this will be the left hand side, this will be the right hand side. Just now I took an example. I cut a section for which I took, in this case, which section? I took which part of the beam? Left hand side part of the beam. I have to see all the forces, external forces, including the support reactions. If towards the left hand side of the section, that is the left hand side of the beam, the net force is vertically upwards. If the net force is vertically upwards, then the shear force will be positive. I have written it to be positive. And if I have taken the right hand side of the beam, then if the net force is vertically downwards, then again this will be positive. The shear force will be positive. Okay, you have to just remember this diagram. Vice versa will be this diagram. So I considered here, for this analysis, I am considering the left hand side of the beam. Therefore, on the left hand side of the beam, for the shear force to be positive at this section, I should have the net resultant force what? Upwards. So I am considering this part of the beam. The net force is what? Don't look at the shear force, look at this external forces. This force is what? Upwards. Therefore, the sign convention should be what? Positive. Now, I'm considering the right hand side. Shear force I have found out, but for the initial explanation, I will consider the both sides, okay, so that you will be much more clear about the sign conventions. Now, actually, here was what? A section. This is the left hand side of the beam. This is the right hand side of the beam. Now, right hand side of the beam, I have to see what are the algebraic sum of all the forces. I have to see what is the algebraic sum of all the forces. Okay. So, see this dy is how much? 100. Dy is what? 100. Okay, this is 100. It's upwards. What I will have? A minus 100 downwards. What I will have? A minus 100 downwards again. This means what? This means what? The resultant is how much? This 100 and 100 will cancel. We will have 100. But in which direction will we have that 100? Downwards or upwards? This 100 will be this 100 is downwards. Okay, this 100 is downwards. So will the shear force be positive or negative? The shear force will be positive or negative. See the sign convention again. So if the net force on the beam on the left hand side of the beam is upwards, then it is positive. But if it is downwards on the right hand side of the beam, still it is positive, isn't it? See this, left hand side, net force should be upwards to be positive. On the right hand side of the section, net force should be what? Downwards to be positive. Okay. Now, is this clear sign convention? Since I have taken this is the right hand side of the section, I am writing the shear forces on the right hand side of the section. Therefore, on the right hand side of the section, the net force for the shear force to be positive should be downwards. It is downwards here. Therefore, again, the shear force at this section is what? Positive. Okay. So दोनों cases में ये positive आना चाहिए, है ना? Whether we are taking the left hand side of the section or right hand side of the section. So this is one way to see the shear forces. Okay. Let me take the section here now. Let me consider in the new section. Let's consider this section now. And after considering this section, I have to draw the free body diagram. This is the detailed explanation. When we will actually do the question, it will be solved in 1 minute. But for the initial analysis, I have to see complete details. This point was what? B, this was C, this was A, AY here, DY here. I had taken a section between B and C, isn't it? This is actually 100. This is 100, this is 100. This is 100 again. Okay. We have taken a section here. Now this is the section. We can consider either the right side of the beam or left side of the section. Okay. Right hand side or left hand side of the section. Now considering the left hand side of the section, to find the shear force at this section, we have to make the algebraic sum of all the external forces, including the support reactions. 100 is upwards and 100 is downwards. What is the net force at this section? It is what? 0. Isn't it 0? Okay. Now, if I consider the right hand side of the section, 100 upwards, 100 downwards, the net shear force again is 0. Okay. Considering both the sides of the section, the net shear force at this section will be what? 0. It will be 0. Now, if I had to take this section, now if I'm interested in taking this section here, then I can draw the beam. This is the left hand side of the beam. Right hand side of the beam will be small. There was dy here equal to 100. Here we had what? 100 Newton. Another 100 Newton here. There was AY here. Okay, there was AY here. So this is the section. If I consider the left hand side of the section, what are the forces? 100 upwards, then 100 downwards, then 100 downwards. What is the net shear force? What is the net force? Net force is 100 downwards. So if I have a downward force in the left hand side of the beam, then it will be what? Negative. So the shear force here, okay, it will be negative. And in fact, the direction of the shear force will be this, isn't it? Because net force is downwards, the shear force should be upwards. Now, taking the right hand side of the section. Right hand side, I have only one force, that is 100, and that is upwards. So if the force is towards the right side of the section is upwards. Is it positive or negative? Again, it is a negative shear force. Okay, you can look at the sign conventions again. So towards the left side of the section, for the shear force to be positive, we should have a net upward force, and for the section, the shear force to be negative, we should have net downward force in the left hand side. Okay, in this case it was okay, and the direction of the shear force here will be this. This will be the direction of the shear force. Hope it is clear up to this point. There is one more method to see to make an analysis of the shear force, that is the element method. See, this is the first section. Okay, I had discussed all the three sections. Now I'm coming back to the first section. The first section I had taken between which points? A and B. Okay, this is A. This point was B here. I had taken a section between A and B in the first case, and this is the section XX. One more method is that on this section you consider, what you consider is an element. You take a section, consider some portion on the left hand side, consider some portion on the right hand side. That is, you consider an element. I have considered here an element instead of the section. Fine. So now we are considering an element, therefore it will break the beam into three parts. One will be the element, one will be the portion of the beam towards the right hand side of the element, and another towards the left hand side of the element. If we consider the left hand side of this element, you can see that this is what? This is AY, which is equal to 100. To keep this left hand side in the equilibrium, there will be a shear force in this direction. Now, this portion is in contact with what? With this. Therefore, the shear force should be what? Upwards. To keep this element in the equilibrium, what should be the shear force here? Downwards. And now this portion of the element is in contact with this portion of the beam. Therefore, the shear force should be what? Upwards. This is 100. This is 100. This is the reaction. So if you are taking an element, this is the section. If you are encountering this type of loading where you have an upward shear force from the left hand side and a downward shear force from the right hand side, then we can say that this sign convention is what? For the positive. Okay, now we are taking an element method. So simply for the element method, you have to remember this diagram for the sign convention. Okay, take an element, take a section first, take some portion of the left hand side and the right hand side. Therefore, you will get an element here. Okay, and if on that element the shear force is in the upward direction from the left hand side and in the downward direction from the right hand side, then this convention is taken to be positive. And we got the same result here, isn't it? Look at the shear force which we found by the section method. At this section, we found shear force to be what? 100, and that was what? Positive. Okay, going back to that section method, and therefore this gives us the justification that this shear force is positive. And if I take a section somewhere here, this section is between which points? This is C, this is D. Okay, if this is the element, okay, this is the element. Agar ye force upwards hai, if this is the force upwards, I'm showing wrong here. No, okay. So take the right hand side, this is upwards, this has to be downwards, and this part of this beam is in contact with this element, then the shear force will be upwards, this will be upwards, And for this element to be in equilibrium, the shear force has to be downwards here and it will be upwards here. Fine. Now see this element. This is the section XX. Towards the right hand side of the section, I have taken an element. Towards the right hand side, the shear force is upwards, isn't it? And towards the left hand side, the shear force is downwards. Now we don't have to see the other parts of the beam for the sign convention. We have to just focus on this element. So this kind of shear force is, if we take an element, this shear force will be a negative shear force. Okay. Vice versa of what? Of the previous element. In the previous element, towards the left hand side upwards and towards the right hand side downwards, that was positive. Okay, you have to just remember these, only one figure, you will be thorough with this. And definitely we had obtained what? Minus the shear force here was, as per the section method, was what? Minus 100, isn't it? We had seen by that section method it was minus 100, and this element method gives us the justification of that. Is it fine? Now let's solve this problem actually now. We'll actually here draw the shear force diagram. This point and this point I will draw this line. This was how much? 100. This was A, this was B. So one thing you can note actually is at a section where point load is applied, at a section where point load is applied, we can't define the magnitude of the shear force. At a point where, at a section where point load is applied, we can't define the magnitude of the shear force. So to find how we actually are going to do the question, I have to draw the shear force. I have to find the shear force at every point. Okay. So let me take this section here, A. Let me first take section A. This is a section where a point load is acting. What is the point load acting here? A reaction support of 100 Newton in the upward direction, 100 Newton, isn't it? So actually, I can't find the shear force at this point. Actually, I won't be able to find the shear force at this point. I will tell you how the books write. What can I do? I can find the shear force at right hand side or the left hand side of the A. Suppose I am taking A. I can take a section towards the right hand side or left hand side. When I am going to the left hand side of A, I don't have the beam. Therefore, the force will be 0 there. There won't be any shear force. But towards the right of A, if I'm taking a section just at the right of A, okay, I'm taking A just at right of A. I told you we can't define the shear force at what? At the point where we have an point load. Therefore, I can't take the section at A. Either I can take section at left hand side, just at the left hand side, or just at the right hand side. I can't go to the left hand side, but I'm taking the section just at the right of A. What will be the shear force just at the right of A? What will be the shear force just at the right of A? How we find the shear force? Take the algebraic sum of all the forces either towards the left or towards the right. What here? it will be easy to take the forces towards the left because we have only one force towards the left, and that is equal to what? 100. Just at the right of A, we have taken a section. The shear force at that section will be how much? 100. Will it be positive or negative? It will be positive because from the left-hand side of the beam, on the left-hand side of the section, the net force is upwards, and that is to be taken as positive. Therefore, if this is A, just towards the right of the A, I will have shear force of what? 100 Newton. Fine. Now, if I take a section here in between A and B, anywhere in between A and B, what will be the shear force? If I'm taking a section anywhere in between A and B, I can take a section here, here, here. What will be the shear force? It will always be 100, isn't it? It will always be 100. So shear force at any section between A and B, it will be 100. Therefore, I will go just towards the left of B. Will the shear force be 100 at B? I told you I can't define the shear force at the point where a point load is acting. Therefore, if I take a section just towards the left of B, I will have the same shear force, and it will remain constant. In fact, I'm going to draw it with some different color. This is 100, okay? This is the reference line. This is B is slightly here. This is upwards and this is downwards, okay? Upward shear force will be positive. What will be shear force at B? I can't say. What will be the shear force at a section just to the right of B? If I'm taking a section just to the right of B, what will be the shear force? For that, I have to take either the left-hand side of the section or right-hand side of the section. If I'm taking the left-hand side of the section and making an algebraic sum of all the forces, 100 is upwards and the point load at B is downwards. Both are 100. Net shear force will be what? 0. So just towards the right of B, we will have a 0 shear force. If I'm taking a section, any section between B and C, any section between B and C will have how much shear force? 0 shear force. Now, if I am taking a section just to the right of C, if I am taking a section just to the right of C, if I'm taking this section, I can make the algebraic sum of all the shear forces towards the left-hand side. 100 upwards, 100 downwards, 100 downwards. Net is how much? 100 downwards. And 100 is the magnitude of shear force and net force is downwards. अगर left hand side से net force downwards होगा, तो वो कैसा shear force होता है? Positive or negative? That is negative shear force. If towards the left hand side we have upward, that is positive. But if towards the left hand side we have downward, that will be negative. So just to the right of C, if this is C, just to the right of C, what will we have the shear force? We'll have minus 100. This is 100, but it is downwards of the reference axis, therefore it is minus. Fine. What will be the shear force between all these points? Between all these points between C and D. Now it will remain constant, isn't it? It will remain constant because there isn't any load acting between C and D. Okay. If I take this section, the shear force still will be minus 100. Therefore, it will go on. This is D. This is just to the left of D. We have minus 100. Now here, it is again 100. At D, I can't say what is the shear force. Okay, at D, what is the shear force? That I can't exactly predict. But now what actually books do is, this is the shear force diagram. What actually books do is, what do they do is, I will show those steps with some light color. At A, they directly shoot up to 100. Okay, what do they do is they directly shoot up to 100. But actually 100 is just to the right of A. But what do actually books do is they directly shoot up to 100. Fine. As soon as they reach B, they directly shoot 0. But I told you that actually it is 100 at what? 100 at just to the left of B. Okay. After that, they remain constant. At C, there is a point load. The minus 100 should not be, I can't say what is the actual value at C, but the minus 100 is actually just to the right of C. But the books just show they directly shoot this point load and make it 100 here. Okay, but it's not actually 100 there, it's just to the right of C. And what do they do here is, now there is a force which is acting upwards. They are moving it in the upward side. Okay. This is actually the shear force diagram. This will be the positive shear force and this will be the negative shear force. So there would have been infinite number of sections between in the beam, but we have taken only few sections and we have got the magnitude of the shear force throughout the beam. Now, which is the critical part of the beam? If we take the shear force as the criteria, which is the critical part of the beam? A to B is the critical part because the shear force is maximum at A and B, A to B. Again, the shear force is maximum at C to B, C to D. Okay. So in between A and B or in between C and D, if we design for any section, that is the critical section, which is carrying the maximum load. So without going for the infinite number of sections, we have drawn the shear force diagram. And we can predict which is the maximum value of the shear force and we can design the beam on that shear force. Okay. So this is the concept of the shear force. But not only we have to look at the shear force, we have to look at the bending moments as well, because these forces create moments as well that we will look in the next class tomorrow.